Hello everybody, my name is gregarganda and I'm going to be talking about Tombstone, my pick this week on the Burns Redo. Now why I picked this movie was I was just channel surfing and I came across the movie in the Action Encore movie channel, which is this little subcategory channel, and I just started rewatching it and started like rekindling my love of this movie from back when I was a child. Now, this movie, Tombstone, is about the historic event that happened with Wyatt Earp. It's a loosely based adaptation of what happened in Tombstone, Arizona, sometime back in the Wild West days, when the retired lawman Wyatt Earp decided to move and retire in Tombstone, Arizona. When he gets there, he finds out that this big gang of just big gang of like terrible people is just like basically causing all these problems, and he decides to come out of retirement, and with it he ends up gaining the help of his friends who were also retired lawmen. Now, what I like about this movie is that, as Dino last said, though he had a problem with this, but I don't, he said that the movie doesn't feel old at all. It really doesn't. It translates perfectly to this time. So, I mean, while parts of it feel like you're watching a time capsule of like the Old West, like some of the lines in the script are like really like seem like a time capsule, but at the same time, it's more just like designed for like this time right now. Like it's designed to translate to any time. Now, what I mean by that is that the script itself is just really fucking cool. Like, okay, let's take for example, I think that the script really shines in with Val Kilmer's character, who is Doc Holliday, who's the best friend of Wyatt Earp. And Doc Holliday is this guy who's dying, not exactly sure which disease he has, but he is dying, but he's also a legendary gunslinger. And, like, he has all these different, like, interactions with this really bad like lawless dude, played by Michael Bain, who is his character's name is Johnny Ringo, and like they have all these back and forths. It's like come out, Wyatt Earp, I'm gonna face you 1-on-1, and then Doc Holliday just comes out of the corner and he's like smoking a cigarette. And it's just like, I'll be your Huckleberry. And it's just like, oh, I get these like chills like every time that Doc Holliday comes out, because they really try to make Val Kilmer look as like really sick as possible. But at the same time, his sickness just does not stop how incredibly dangerous his character is, because he's a really good gunslinger, and probably the best the best sickest man to have on your team, especially if you have like a big gang of about 50 people who are terrorizing a town. Now, this movie has some of my favorite actors in it. Kurt Russell is Wyatt Earp. I mean, Kurt Russell, like, yeah, I love him for the movie The Thing, and for like Escape from New York and L.A. Not so much L.A. But like at the time, like growing up, The Thing is probably one of my one of the scariest movies. And in this movie, like this. As Dino last said, this is like a played up version of what happened in the historical past. So what you get is like a comic, like almost like a comic, like, I wouldn't say like a satire, but take something like Sin City. Sin City, for example. If you take away all the stylization, what you get is a pretty standard noir concept. Like, this is something that could happen on Law and Order, but these characters are boosted up so much, like Wyatt Earp. Like, there's these great scenes with Wyatt Earp where he's coming after these dudes. Like, there's a shootout that's happening in, like, right next to this river, and he's getting really pissed because it looks like they're gonna get away, and he's just like, no! He pulls out his like shotgun and he just starts like running out into the middle. Doc Holliday is just like screaming, "Hey, get your ass back over here! Calm down." And like Wyatt Earp's just going apeshit in this movie, and he's just like runs out into the river and just starts firing his shotgun, killing a couple of people. It's really cool how much it's played up. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. I mean, I already mentioned him, but I have the biggest crush on Val Kilmer back in the 90s and the 80s. Like, Val Kilmer back then in the days of like the Island of Dr. Moreau. The man's gorgeous. I mean, like, he was, I can't put it any other way. I am in love with Val Kilmer back in the 90s. Like, movies like Heat, just like, fucking love Val Kilmer. His character's incredibly sexy as well. I mean, he's dying, but, like, at the same time, he's got this, like, suave, like, style about him that's just, like, so fucking cool. And, yeah. Okay, now, one character that I liked that was on the bad guys team was Michael Baine's character, Johnny Ringo. I mean, I already talked about him, but what I like about Michael Bain is that Michael Bain, if you, like, were asleep during the 80s, I mean, he was the star of Aliens, he was the star of Terminator, the original. I mean, he was Kyle Reese, the one who was trying to save Sarah Connor, and, like, Michael Baine's character, Johnny Ringo, is this, like, really wild-eyed, like, psychopathic gunslinger. Like, he's kind of like an amalgam of chaos, and he's kind of like, he's almost an opposite of, Doc Holliday, who is, like, while he's self-destructive, he's also very, very considerate of everyone around him, while Johnny Ringo he's kind of like a fireball. He wants to kill everything around him. He's kind of like, he's barely even under control of the bad guys. He's just like, he's everything that's bad put together. And that's what I like about Johnny Ringo's character. He's like wild-eyed. He's always like calling people out to like come and try to kill them. He's just insane. What do I dislike about this movie? Not a fucking thing. I love this movie. I love this movie to death. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's, like, right up there, right next to, like, Once Upon a Time in the West when it comes to, my favorite Western movies. I haven't seen Wyatt Earp, so I can't even comment on BLS, like, saying that Wyatt Earp is better than this movie, but at the same time, I don't think I would want to see, I don't think I would be in favor of something like Wyatt Earp, which, what he suggested is something that's, like, much more, like, historically accurate, as opposed to Tombstone, which is almost, like, comical and, like, over the top and really intense. I mean, it's just, like, it's something to drink beer to. It's fucking awesome. I give Tombstone 2 huge thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Take it easy.